All right, let's get rolling in lesson 2 then. You now know kind of the typical structural check homework. As long as you got everything answered when you get here, you're going to get 100% on that. And then the warm-up is the other part of your daily work. So homework completion and warm-ups are your 25% of your grade. You should almost always get 100% on having your assignment done, I would think. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday, that there were 3 things. We're going to continue that. There were 2 types of moves we talked about yesterday. Gabby, do you remember what they were? Rotate and slide are the 2, and then we said there'd be another one coming. Also started with an R. A reflection. Okay, that's what we're going to concentrate on today. We already touched on it, so not really anything new. Now it says estimate the angle of rotation. It does say estimate. Anytime it says that, you have quite a bit of leeway. From A to B, we have to watch that as well. So we are rotating this far. So I'm on the right side of the shape here, so I want to make sure I draw my arrow to the right side of the shape. Now it's an estimate of what that angle is. So I would base it off of a 90-degree angle. Do you think that's more than a 90? Okay, so a 90, got a protractor handy. 90, remember, just kind of makes a square shape. Scissors. There we go. So I can be a little exact here. So a 90 would have come to right here. That's what would make a perfect square. So that is more than a 90. It rotated past that. So your guess needs to be probably more than 90. Got a guess before I tell you exact? Bethany, more than 90? 120? That looks to be pretty well exactly 120. So if it does say estimate, I would probably allow anything from 110 to 130, give you a 20-degree window. Definitely has to be more than 90. Next page. Okay, just like a review from yesterday. It says describe each move or say if it is a new move. So without even talking much about the new term, I'd like you to answer that. See if you can spot it. I'm guessing there's one in there that we didn't have yesterday. So go ahead and answer that. Going straight down on page 14. I'll give you a couple minutes. All right, hopefully you got a good start here. Sienna, got the first one? Slide right. Also could call it a translation. Remember, that's what the book calls the slide. Either one is just fine. 2 to 3. Zoe. Next one. Okay, so flip 180 though, this point would actually be on the bottom, so it's actually not a rotation. That's the new move, right? And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. That is a reflection. A reflection, so if I have my left hand here, a reflection is just going to be like the mirror image of that. Okay, it's not changing any rotation or anything. It's just, if there's a mirror here, this is what it's going to look like. As I move one hand back, it gets further away from the mirror. So that is a reflection. So think of it being like a mirror right here. Looks the exact same on the other side, facing the other direction. So 3 to 4 now. Lily? Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Yeah, I probably should add in that 90 degrees to be a little more specific. 4 to 5. Yeah. Slide up. 5 to 6. What do you guys think on that one? That is a reflection again. Okay, so it would be like a mirror is right here. So like when I put my thumb closest to here, this point will be the same thing going this way. Right here. That is a reflection. That is that new move. So now you have a slide or translation, a reflection, and rotation. 3 possibilities. How would you describe the new move? Well, it's described as a reflection. And it is called a reflection because it's like looking in a mirror. It's just like your reflection. All right, so I'm going to show you a bunch of cards here. And I want you to sort them by number. So I'd like you to write this down, translation. And all of them that look like a translation, you'll just kind of write the numbers underneath it. That's also the slide, remember. Then you have rotation. So all the ones that are rotated, you'll write the numbers underneath rotation. And then the other one is reflection. So there are 12 of them. You're just going to write the number down in its spot here. Then when you're done with that, please check with the neighbor, see if you agree. See if you agree that these are the 3 or whatever that are the reflections, and so on. You cannot see the numbers. It goes 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. That way there are 12 of them. So just start at 1, what's happening there. Put the 1 in the appropriate column. So you should have 12 numbers written down in one of those 3 spots. Anybody need more time? All right. See how we did. Did you compare with a neighbor? Let me take a second and compare with somebody quick. All right. What do you think on 1? Go ahead and just shout it out, somebody who's confident. Translation, that is just a slide. So 1 should go into that column. 2, that is a rotation. Notice if you rotate that, this point would slide to the right here as well. That's kind of gives it away. That is a rotation. 3. Now you might think rotation, if that's a rotation, that point would be down here, so it's not a rotation. It's a reflection, mirror going right here. Okay, mirror going right here. 3 is a reflection. 4. That is a reflection as well. The mirror would be right here. So 4 is a reflection. 5 is pretty much the same thing. The mirror would be right here. Now some people have trouble and say, hey, that's a 180-degree rotation. Well, if that rotates 180, the point's over here. So 5 is also a reflection. 6, that is a rotation. It's just rotating. Well, I guess it matters if it's going green to red or red to green. That is a rotation, so 6 under the rotation column. 7, not a reflection. If it was a reflection, this point and this point would be next to each other. These 2 peaks would be opposite each other. That's just a slide. That's just a slide. 8. Yep, translation, just a slide again. 9. That is a rotation just on that point right there where they touch. 10. Yeah, just a slide once again. 11. That is a reflection. Mirror would be right here. So if you think of a mirror being right here, these 2 things would be the same distance apart. These 2 are the same distance apart from our mirror. Every point on there. 11 is a reflection. And one last one. 12. That is a rotation. Again, if you have trouble with any of those, you always have access to these videos. Look back and take a peek at those since these shapes are not in your book. Good summary on the page 15. Shows you translate. Every point is moving. the same direction. Shows you a rotation. Whatever point it is rotating on is called the vertex. If you ever hear that point, what is it rotating around? That's called the vertex. Okay, and reflection, that's the new one today. So here would be our mirror image. So just like if you put your hand up, closest to the mirror, this is my mirror, my thumb is going to be closest on my reflection to me as well. So if you imagine this being your thumb, every one of these points is the same distance away, whether it's the original or the mirror image. Okay. Reflections will always look like that. It does give us a couple terms on the bottom as well. It says we use the word image to describe the new figure. So if this is the original and it says draw the image, it's referring to this side, the new one. And the other term it tells you is corresponding points. So let's say this is point X, that would correspond to X prime or some other letter on the other side. It just means that's the same point. This point, if it would be called Y, the corresponding point would be that one. If this point is called Z, the corresponding point would be Z prime on that side. Just which points correspond on each side. So rotation, translation, reflection, those are the terms we will be using going forward. So just one new one today. Any questions before we talk about the homework? All right, on page 18, pretty self-explanatory. We've done a lot of those at this point. Does give you some room to work up here and write those down if you wish to use that. Question number 3 has a new shape there. Notice it does say select all. Anytime you see that for a question like number 3, it means there's probably going to be more than one answer. Okay, so don't just circle one, call it good. Select all means there's probably more than one. Keep that in mind when you do that as well. So page 18 and 19.